Yeah, not gonna have a very team fight, impactful champion, and Alpha removing Karma right off the bat, as again it has been flexed multiple times in three different roles, and I wouldn't be surprised if the set gets banned. But in the other hand, Zoe being targeted towards Chen 9.
All right, so I'm gonna not have Chen 9 on something that he favors, like the Zoe you mentioned. Has been kind of one of his go-to picks, but I say it's rather difficult to try and ban out Chen 9 when it comes to the PCS. He has the most diverse champion pool, at least shown so far. I think he's sitting at 10 unique picks when it comes to the PCS, higher than any other mid laner at the moment. Golden Feet, though, not going to have his Ashe, as that's been usually the go-to answer for Nova when going up against Aphelios.
Yeah, you're right. It's pretty hard to try and ban out Chen 9. The same goes for G4. I think he's also sitting close to 10 different unique champions in the mid lane as well. Both of these mid laners very key to how this game is going to pan out, as just as you mentioned, Set is out, and as well as Golden Feet's Ashe. So therefore, we might see the typical Ezreal, which hasn't really been performing well when that's in Wayland's hands, and Golden Feet, who has been very comfortable in the Ashe pick.
All right, so we also see now, too, Ryan not going to have that Nidalee available, and that was more or less a Your River style pick that we saw in the early phases of summer. World 6 hasn't played it, so it's fine here for Alpha to take that one away, but does mean the Graves is open, and immediately Nova says, World 6, you're not getting it, Ryan's going to have it this game.
Yeah, for Ryan, it has been a 1-1 record so far on the Grave, so makes me wonder, would Trundle be the fallback for World 6 it's his second good performing jungler when it comes to at least when he has entered the Alpha roster. But now, Thresh being heavily prioritized so far by most of these teams, that's going to be for your son, and it enables at least your heavy engage already on the checklist.
Yeah, and this is already a little bit of a change-up than what we saw of the draft in the previous matchup between the two teams. Again, Wei Lun, as well as Yursan, they were on a much more passive bot lane in the form of the Ezreal Braum, just trying to soak up waves and then push through. This time around, though, they have a very proactive bot lane in the form of Kalista Thresh.
And the thing about Kalista on towards Wei Lun, it has a 2-0 record, and it means that Wei Lun is given a comfortable lane with this pickup, and you pair that up with your son as well. And for Nova's response to lock in a Nautilus, it is definitely a no-brainer, as it will definitely match the 2v2 aggression that we are talking about in the bottom side of the map.
All right, so we see Aphelios getting locked in, and from the side of Nova too, getting that Nautilus alongside Pop and Golden Feet. Gonna have a bit of aggression themselves and maybe allow Pop to go for some roams.
Definitely, when it comes to the roams, yes, you can definitely match what your son is able to offer and whatever World 6 is going to be picking up in the jungle, possibly the Volibear if that is not given to Bush. But yes, I'm a little bit afraid right now of what Nova is trying to accomplish. Yes, they're very strong picks, but this sort of style has been their biggest weakness so far in summer.
All right, so Volibear getting locked in. Again, could go to Bush, could go to World 6. We have to see exactly what the plan is going to be. With that Ornn actually being banned out, might be translating to a Bush top lane Volibear. As Rocky, we know him. It's rare we see Rocky on something like the Ornn in particular. He loves playing, you know, his top side, strong side top lane. So a little bit of maybe a misread coming out of here from Alpha.
Yeah, we've never seen Rocky play on an Ornn, maybe not even in spring. But yes, for Rocky, he still has a bunch of choices. Renekton is still open for something a little bit more safe. And as well as Mordekaiser, which we've seen him adjust when it comes to the first few games of the round robin. And now Twisted Fate, again, trying to restrict the pool of Chen 9. But again, it's just so hard considering how, again, you mentioned 11 different unique champions for Chen 9 so far in summer.
We also see here as well, Galio being banned out, and the Mordekaiser away from Rocky, so trying to get her something that could be neutral when it comes to the lane phase. And for Alpha, for Bush, he says, all right, I'm going to go ahead and take a Renekton. I'm interested to see if Rocky's going to try and answer with something like a Camille.
And then we've seen Rocky's Camille's rather, and Rocky's Camila, and it didn't really pan out well, especially when Rocky decided, oh, dear me, are they gonna lock this in? Because we mentioned scaling. This, if they lock in the Azir, this spells scaling. Therefore, Rocky, or rather Ryan, has no choice but to focus on whatever Rocky's gonna be picking up at topside, and that's it, just at topside.
There you go. As it's rare that we see G4 really try and make some plays. They're going to be waiting until they hit that level 11 as well as an item or two in their back pockets before they try and go for it. But G4's Azir has been a little bit lackluster. This would be a decent turnaround when it comes to the damage profile, considering that you do have, of course, the AD and the Graves. And for Rocky, he goes ahead and locks in the cannon.
I like this. I really love this pickup on towards this Kennen. I believe for at least Rocky. He hasn't picked this up in summer just yet, but it has been surging in popularity for at least the last few games when it comes to the PCS summer. And now for Alpha though, they are hovering over the Sylas, and Chen9, I believe, has picked this up already once, and therefore this is a very strong top side to mid pick for Alpha.
All right, so we're going to have that likely now getting locked in for Chen9, which means World 6 this time around. Going to be a little bit more on what you would call a utility tank, kind of similar to his playstyle that we see a lot back over when he was on OMG in the LPL, so maybe getting some comfort there, but a bit of a change up when it comes to Alpha's execution, and we'll see whether or not this team is truly just the World 6 show, or is there more to it ever since he's joined the roster.
And so far for Alpha at least, I mean, Bush has been creating such a huge shining performance, especially when they went up against Nova, is able to shut down Rocky to the point that his Irelia didn't do much. And at that point, I'm curious if they can replicate that victory against Nova at the second time around.
Well, for Alpha, name of the game is aggression. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to do that and try and shut down Nova's composition before it comes online. For Nova Esports, it is a very definite needed victory here if they want to at least give themselves some safety to avoid getting knocked out of playoffs. We'll see whether or not that's going to be the case, though, as we load on into the Rift onto my broken dolly cam.
It's all right. The dolly cam's taking a break.
No, it doesn't get a break. It's a dolly cam. It doesn't have breaks. It doesn't have lunch breaks. I didn't get to eat during my break. Excuse me.
Well, that's what we think.
I have it recorded. Okay, we were recording that. Oh my lord.
Oh.
I have proof. I have evidence. Oh boy, as World 6 levitating bear, newest trick in the book. Coming back to this, of course, though, we've kind of made a little bit of a deal, especially with G4 locking in the Azir. As far as the pick goes and how Nova try and play around it, we have seen long, coordinated or scaling kind of games, especially when they go up against heavy, aggressive teams like Alpha. It's rare that we see Nova really find their win condition and really come online.
Yeah, that's the thing. For Nova, this is still a big challenge for them to be able to, I wouldn't say master this different style of having not to rely too much on topside control and get Rocky ahead and get Ryan ahead. But when we look at it in a different angle, Alpha's weakness is definitely one of those things where if they aren't able to snowball in the early phases of the game, they sort of crumble in the mid to late. And that is definitely where Nova's composition is going to shine. But they do have still that, what do you call this? They still have a very strong, heavy engaged composition, which I'm a little bit worried because when we look at Nova's track record when it comes to scaling, they sort of fall off, is unable to get trades, and then it just, Alpha just snowballs out of control.
This time, though, we are going to be, I think, keeping track of how Chen9 and World 6 really work together, because this Sylas in particular is going to be the one that we want to see kind of get unlocked and get all over the map to help try and get advantages elsewhere, trying to go for those dives, as I don't know how well Bush is going to be able to handle up into this range matchup against Kennedy. He is, of course, Renekton. It's not the end of the world. Death Sense, though, is going to come out, and we wanted to see a proactive bot lane from Waylon and your son, and already getting some decent damage onto the Nova duo.
Yeah, and Golden Feet pop. they lost their summoner spells. And meanwhile, for Alpha, they only had to spend their Ignite. So all of the defensive spells still intact. And that's a little bit worrisome because Pop will definitely need that Flash Dredge line or any sort of the defensive spells to escape any sort of death sentences from your son.
We see World 6 here, actually, being the one rather aggressive. They did spot him out, though, on a ward. In comes Ryan, trying to get a little bit of damage. Smite will come on through, just give him a little bit of health, and just like that, they just trade sides. And it should be Ryan being able to continue to clear out his jungle.
And the prize, I suppose, will be World 6 having to fall back on Scuttle control, at least. And yeah, so far, a little bit stable, at least for Nova. Pop was not able to fall from that initial engage. And for Nova, again, if they are able to survive and at least contest and exchange objectives off of the map.
I'm very skeptical, but World 6 actually ends up playing into the bait here, as Ryan was waiting for him the entire time as he tries to get a little bit aggressive. We saw Ryan pinging up in toward the Raptor camp, and I was really actually convinced that he was going to try and go for an invade without mid priority, which he has done before. So it wasn't out of the question, but it looks like he'll be just safe just fine as, again, actually just going to go ahead and hammer away up against World 6. We wanted to see that aggression out of Ryan early.
Yeah, and it seems to be, Ryan is able to contest 2 of the Raptor camps as World 6 is just trying to walk around, pick up the pieces. Where else can he visit? Where else can he make an impact? As, again, these lanes, every single lane from Alpha, strong level 3s.
Rasan, though, able to get himself within range.
Oh!
Also got the last pullback on the Q animation during the Nautilus hook. That's going to be first blood being put here onto Wei Lun.
Beautifully done. Great timing. And unfortunately, even if you have the hook coming from your son is able to get that second tug and pull in Pop. No summoner spells, therefore they're able to get in control of that one. And we did mention strong level 6s from all of what Alpha has picked up, and therefore Nova is unable to do anything from that attack.
Just a little tragic there for Pop as he was almost out of range, but again, that second tug that comes through from the Thresh Death Sentence seals his fate. And that gives first blood actually on over to Wei Lun, which we mentioned during Champ Select has often been seen as one of the exploitable areas of Alpha Esports when it comes to their summer split so far. And now he has the gold in pocket and has himself the opportunity to prove otherwise.
Yeah, so far, if he's not on that Ezreal, if not on the Ashe, that Kalista is a great fallback for Wei Lun. And so far, so good. Still 2-0 on the record for Summer, and possibly can make it a 3-0 based on what we're seeing so far in the first 5 minutes.
We see now, Bush is going to go ahead and hit level 6. We may see World 6 actually try and make an appearance here shortly. He's actually fallen a little bit behind here on this volley bear. He was able to at least get the assist down in bot lane, but this Graves from Ryan continue to farm up and continue to have this level advantage is what they're looking for. We see Bush with that push in, was looking for an invade, but did spot out the control ward that was laid down by Ryan.
For Nova, though? For Nova top lane, at least? Oh, wait. Ryan is able to steal a couple of chickens, at least.
Bush is
from
coming
World
down.
6.
G4 has to make a play here. Gen 9 actually steals away the Emperor's Divide, and Ryan gets shut down. And level 6 for the Sylas. Well, if you get level 6 on the Azir, it means he also has an Emperor's Divide in his arsenal. And a nice collapse coming out here from Alpha Esports.
But damage output-wise, yes, of course, Gen 9 will definitely have the upper hand. That's a lot of hijack value off of that divide, and as well as future slicing Maelstrom coming from this cannon later on. This Sylas pick so far has been working in the first few minutes of the game, and the thing is, it is Nova that challenged the space. They were the ones being a little bit more advanced, and unfortunately did not respect the level 6 of Gen 9, and Bush having to collapse the part of the map.
I'm going to be hoping there that Rocky in particular was trying to say in comms, hey, my top lane is missing because we didn't see any pings come out from him himself, and Rocky unfortunately isn't able to get prio up toward that top side of the map, and it makes it really risky for Ryan to continually try and go in onto that Raptor, which allowed Bush to go for the collapse to just try and pinch them.
And this is the exchange that Rocky desired in the first place. We saw him trying to freeze the wave near that line over towards that river, therefore having to not repeat the same mistake of what happened in the first encounter against Alpha, on where Rocky was unfortunately 0-7, and therefore there's a ton of respect again, especially it's World 6 in the jungle, and Bush on a very strong top lane pick as the Renekton.
So with that, now that's going to be 2 kills over to Alpha Esports, and we kind of mentioned Alpha are known to be the ones that get aggressive. That was a 92% first blood rate heading into this game. Now it's sitting around like 94, because they were able to secure the first one here as well. As Yursan and Weilun already looking to rotate toward the top side of the map, Rocky is going to spot this out. A late rotation that will come out from Nova, which equates, if they wanted to, once World 6 makes his way on over, could look to possibly look for a Rift Herald.
And it's perfect too, because normally the teams would rotate without their level 6s from the AD carries and as well as support. Weilun gets his from having to farm the bottom at the top side of the map, and as well as Golden Feet, unfortunately, still sitting at the bottom with his support. Therefore, this leaves that Nova is relinquishing control over top side, and it's fine, just because, again, they are scaling, they are not able to create impact, and they're going to be solely reliant on Rocky setups if they do want to contest these objectives earlier on.
We see here World 6 already pinging out. Ryan, again, trying to get an invade into the jungle. It's very risky when the top side gets pushed in once again. So, luckily not going to fall for the same mistake, as Gen 9 is going to be pushed in himself underneath this tower. But look at this. The issue is, if Ryan isn't able to make a play happen or get something out of this, he's just wasting time here on this Graves where he should be trying to push for advantages.
They can try to get a pick off and then make it a 4v5, transition to the Rift Herald. That is their plan.
In comes Pop as well, to trying to make it play, and there you go. A nice shutdown finally comes through. We said, all right, you have to get something in mid lane. What they were able to get is Gen 9 will fall. Does mean, though, Rift Herald is going to be started up instantly by the side of Alpha. It looks like Nova are just going to be trying to get a couple turret plates over to G4. Fate's Call comes out toward the top side of the map. Yursan with a hook.
Ooh.
Not going to land there onto Rocky, though.
A little bit afraid for Rocky, but he still does have his flash. World 6 will most likely unleash the Rift Herald and funnels in some gold towards Weilun instead. But again, this is Gen 9, unfortunately, had to be sandwiched by Pop, and as well as a good unexpected setup with the Flash Emperor's Divide, and the rest of the damage is just gonna fall through. But for Alpha, though, they already started the Rift Herald, therefore they're unable to contest it after that kill.
He also gave all those turret plates, as well as likely now first break gold over onto Weilun, which he himself is going to be very happy getting that injected immediately early on. Should be able to at least complete his first item on the next back, and there you go, for Alpha. Going to plan, it seems, here, and it's up to kind of Ryan to be this kind of leading charge for Nova to try and bring things back under control.
Yeah, absolutely. As Nova is still trying to continue to see whether or not he can constrict resources away from World 6. But on the other hand, just as you mentioned, resources are being funneled onto Weilun anyways. And if we look at the damage output, I'd be afraid for Weilun, especially if he has his Runaan's later on, and will definitely sort of outmatch Ryan here on towards this Graves.
See here, though, Golden Feet's going to be happy. He gets his second plate of the game, so getting some gold back in onto the Aphelios. Weilun, though, comes back with that fork. Note, though, Rocky has finished off his Proto Belt, so we may actually see Nova try and go for a play here now that that's online. Try and maybe see if they can get a couple more kills back into their pocket now that you're starting to see those level 11s as well as those first items key into the back pockets of the team.
Yeah, we'll definitely see something happen depending on if there is an available flanking ward, as Alpha has been doing a lot of dewarding duty here, as Rocky does have teleport, does have the Proto Belt later on, and the dragon has actually spawned already.
And you can see that Nova themselves, they want to try and get some pressure on here, because if you're able to actually take the second dragon of the game, that should delay Alpha when it comes to them trying to close things out and forcing that soul point immediately. But there you go. Dominus was actually already popped there by Bush, so he's not going to have that ultimate if the fight does break out. Over the wall, they're going to get that quick death sentence over on the Pop. Going to also get that stun.
Oh,
in
no.
comes the teleport. Where is Rocky? He's going to be joining in onto the fray. He has himself the flank, but decides not to pull the trigger. And you see Nova, they kind of wanted to go for that play, but they decide not to.
The biggest thing is Gen 9 has also his cannon ult, and that is basically enough for Nova to retract their decision to collapse and just give away this Ocean Drake.
Fate's Call going to be coming out. Here's
Oh, no!
Feet way too far forward. Your son completely misses, though, on the death sentence. So does Cold Feet on his own ultimate, though. In comes Ryan for cleanup duty, but that was just a comedy of errors as now World 6 maybe getting a little bit too close in onto the party. No collateral damage for Ryan. And you know what? We'll just ignore both bot lanes misplay there.
That was, yeah, I mean, the Fate's Call managed to get that knock up, but everything just sort of collapsed. But at the end of the day, Alpha is still able to get that kill. But unfortunately, because of that delay on Golden Feet's kill, even though, yes, he missed his ult, but still, it... what is... The Golden Feet replies with his own ult to just completely go the opposite direction. But, hey... Ryan is able to get an exchange 80 carry over 80 carry.
I can hear the Thai broadcasters in the room next to me. They kind of went, what? Really loud. And speaking of what here, looks like Rocky was able to get a kill alongside G4 on her own.
Yeah, that is actually going to be adding to a little bit more and help Nova, especially that there wasn't much that they could do at the first few minutes of the game. Having to shut down that Renekton means having to shut a possible threat towards Golden Feet as the Aphelios.
Let's just take a look back here. Yeah, easy dive. Not a whole lot Bush could really do as G4 just kind of whacks away from the side, and Rocky gets himself a quick kill for himself. Gets that cannon online too, which is rather important, and starts to accelerate him as he does find himself 30 CS up in the matchup. One thing to take note, though, was Alpha was able to secure the second dragon, so that does mean now Infernal Soul Point could be looking at about 23 minutes for that if Alpha are able to keep up their pace.
And for sure for Nova at that point, in the next 3 minutes or so, they will definitely be equipped as long as they're able to get a really good cannon ult in towards the backline, eliminate squishy and key targets such as Chen 9 and Wei Lun on towards this Kalista, and everything's going to be a-okay. Easier said than done though, as Alpha is now trying to push, get more towers to eliminate, as top is already gone, mid is kind of hard with G4 up there. But in the meantime, that's 3 people down at bot for a potential dive.
Well, that's the thing, though. We want to keep seeing Alpha be aggressive here. If you're able to at least stamp out the possibility of the scaling of Nova, that's a good point here. As Chen 9 also going to be spotting out Golden Feet. You can just see that damage that does come out from the Silas if Golden Feet is not careful. As Bush continues to go for roams throughout the jungle, has been not really staying in lane, other than just trying to get that quick wave clear. As G4, he's in his prime spot, a side lane, split pushing away, farming up his items.
Yeah, the star players of Nova having to get a little bit more gold from the side lanes, and as well, Bush unfortunately had to relinquish control as he is down in CS and unfortunately also down 1 level in comparison to Rocky, having to sacrifice more of control and farm and potential kills to get him going. But unfortunately, Nova sees this coming, a couple of protective vision in the river, therefore Bush is unable to take advantage of that. But then again, Alpha does have control over Rift Herald at the moment, at least, as they give it up, actually.
Yeah, they've been kind of having some second thoughts here. They're trying to see whether or not someone will come on over toward Wei Lun. In mid, trying to bait that one out. They do need to try and knock down that mid-tier tower, though, so they can actually get a lot more map control in the midsection of the map and then really try and hammer it into Nova. In all honesty, I think Alpha wanted to have a bigger gold lead at the moment. There is the possibility that Nova are going to get to their point where they need to.
Exactly. Scaling, Golden Feet has only died once. G4 isn't exactly camp. He's actually 0-0-2, as Nova has been creating a lot of impactful plays in the mid lane to sort of relieve pressure off from G4. And unfortunately, Chen 9, even though he has been doing a lot of damage, so far, when Nova sees that they're losing the fight, they back away, and therefore not a lot has been garnered from the previous fights when it comes to Alpha.
Well, you needed to be proactive, and we saw proactivity early on in the game from the bot lane, in particular of Alpha. But now it's just kind of subsided. World 6 is starting to fall a little bit behind in levels as Ryan's been able to maintain his farming. He's starting to get himself a little bit ahead. Colton Feed also finished off his call. He gets a little bit of an injection of gold. And I think it's rather important here for Nova, if they can, trying to stall out this next Dragon attempt or even possibly try and look for a fight.
And it's quite possible too, because Alpha, again, when we look at Wayland's items, he has already that Runan's Hurricane, therefore it's going to add up in towards, you know, impactful plays when it comes to the team fight later on. And with that timing as well on dropping that Rift Herald, Alpha has more space, therefore very close to that soul point. And of course, Nova do not want to see this push through, as they're already gathering here in the Dragon Pit.
Yeah, you saw Alpha, they tried to make the hasty move to pop Rift Herald, but it was answered immediately. Now for Nova, can you actually find this play? Ryan's going to go for the 50-50 in the Smite battle. He's able to take it, and that's what Nova need to find. Bush, though, on a flank, trying to get it onto the back line. Emperor's Divide able to separate back toward the fight. G4 gets himself back to safety, gets the knock-up. They take down World 6. Rocky onto the back line. He takes down Wei Lun, and that's what you're looking for if you're a Nova fan. Cold Feet still alive on the Aphelios. Your son going to fall down shortly as the collateral damage finds its mark, and it's going to be 2 for 4 in favor of Nova as they secure their first Dragon of the game.
And that is what Nova has been looking for. And even though, yes, the 2 first Dragons did not pan out, but Nova is definitely in a comfortable spot for them to keep challenging, as Chennai and Ryan will still continue on with the trade. But this is perfect because, again, all what Nova had to do is manage to get Rocky with a good smiling, slicing Maelstrom. They're definitely smiling after this fight. And at this point, the Dragon has been stolen away from World 6. World 6 was pretty much slow. Even though Pop was eliminated off of that Emperor's Divide was enough to peel for the backline of Nova.
And you can just see it's all split focus. Golden Feet is able to survive on the Aphelios, gets that double kill. And Chen 9, unfortunately, can't do a whole lot. And I kind of have the feeling here that, unfortunately, when you put World 6 on more of these utility tanks, it's not what the team needs. They needed that hyper-aggression early. Instead, we only saw that 1 kill go down in the bot lane. We saw the 1 little attempt at a possible kill toward mid. Outside of that, though, Nova have been able to equalize everything out, get their first Dragon to delay Soul Point, and also find a goal lead.
Yeah, find that gold lead. And yeah, going back to your point about World 6 having to be on this utility jungler, unfortunately, at that fight, all he had was to focus on the Dragon, but unfortunately, this gave a lot of space for Nova to take advantage and kite World 6 as, again, he was busy with that Dragon. Chen 9, though, has Zhonya's at least for a little bit more survivability to stall out in case they're caught out in the next slicing Maelstrom coming from Rocky. But then again, the goal is to try and eliminate Golden Feet, but Alpha being a little bit more aggressive with their position at the moment.
Well, they kind of realize now time is now. You have to try and make a play as Ryan gets himself back to safety. Tower will get taken down. Rocky's also nearby if the fight were to break out. But you do see Alpha now kind of snapped in their mind saying, okay, we actually have to pick up the pace. We have to go for these plays. We have to make something happen. We have to force Nova to make mistakes, or else they will continue to scale up as this game goes.
Exactly. Speaking of mistakes, you know, Nova, even though they are able to get at least a gold lead, most of the time, or sometimes rather, when it comes to summer, they also crumble when the late game comes, even though it does spell that their composition is definitely much stronger as the game progresses. But yes, for Alpha, it's not looking too shiny. It's looking a little bit shaky, especially in the future fights that Nova will definitely have the upper hand.
And with that, Vision going to be laid down. We do also have the Baron, of course, 21 minutes on the clock, has joined us onto the Rift. And for Alpha, we had that moment where if they're able to secure the last Dragon, they could have forced this game to get into a state where they could have forced for an issue. As Rocky, though, if he gets caught out, could be disaster, ends up popping his Slicing Maelstrom, trying to get himself back over to safety. Not going to happen. There you go. Chen 9 with a shutdown.
Oof, that is tough, and we've seen that again. We've seen that before, as, you know, a lot of the teams would like to punish, or rather like to take advantage of the solo laners when it comes to pushing, and also exchange a tower after that exchange. And with that said, unfortunately, again, for Nova, they're extremely strong as 5s, but Alpha can do this and just take advantage of the solo laners
well, when there's absolutely no vision on your bot side of the map, maybe Rocky shouldn't be pushing, and this has been a common issue when it comes to Nova that we have to criticize. very frequently is the lack of vision control and lack of vision safety. Hell, even once again, G4, look at where he is. There's no vision through their jungle. If Chen9 wanted to, he could just sit by and then decide to just try and wait him out. For now, G4 is going to go into that bot lane to try and soak up as much as he can, as he does have teleport coming online for the next Baron fight, if it were to break out.
Yeah, especially if you want to keep the Emperor's Divide for the peel in future dragon fights and not use it as an escape tool from having to push in the side lanes. And yes, the critical thing here is that Alpha, Chen9 here in the Silas can hijack Rocky's Slicing Maelstrom, and it's just gonna be that an equal threat when he does use it against Nova.
The concern here for Nova is, again, this ward line hasn't been able to push past the river. Now they finally are able to do it when they 5-stack mid. But that does mean Chen9 on a side lane, able to push in. So someone has to go answer him. Or you could also have that flank come out from the Silas, as Infernal is up and ready for these two teams to take. It looks like Alpha are the ones that are going to try and start it.
The big difference from Alpha bot lane would be QSS already on the side of Weilun. While they do, okay, Chen9's still busy split pushing. He's gonna go mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
G4?
That's going to be Emperor's Divide for an Emperor's Divide. They're going to try and hunt him down while they can. Rocky going on forward, needs to get that stun. In comes Bush as well. Stopwatch is available, trying to delay it as much as they can, but maybe it's a little bit too long, as that's a beautiful shutdown gold pickup for Rocky on the cannon. And now Ping's coming out. Nova with the 2-man advantage, but Alpha are still starting up the Infernal Drake. And there you go, Weilun gets caught out, able to get back to safety with the Lantern. Cold Feet zoning them back. And there you go, Nova now with 2 dragons in their back pocket.
And when it comes to vision, unfortunately, Alpha also does not have. Therefore, they did not have information that Nova was already planning to collapse on Chen9 while he just wanted to take down the tower while Alpha was busy with Infernal. Problem is, Alpha did not start the Infernal while this was happening. They were busy trying to reach Nova. Therefore, no exchange, at least for maybe Chen9's death, off of that 3rd dragon for themselves. They chose this decision, and unfortunately, they lost this deal.
And now it's a 1,500 gold lead with Nova also picking up 2 Infernals. And you're starting to work now toward the Infernal Soul. This is starting to look a bit dire, and we kind of said, all right, you know, Alpha is the team that in most cases should be able to shut down Nova if they decide to go this scaling route. But it just doesn't seem to be the case, and now Nova in prime position to possibly take this game.
Yeah, it's the small decisions that lead into big, impactful returns in favor of Nova. Again, for Alpha earlier, they could have started the Infernal, sacrifice Chen9, and then leave it at that. But unfortunately, again, time is ticking for themselves, and they're not able to take the 5v5, as Nova is definitely insanely stronger. Eventually, Bush will fall off. He will attack, and he will just explode from all the damage in the world that Nova is dishing. And as well, the same goes for Chen9, as he'll not be able to heal off of the damage that Nova will be able to dish later on. And again, it's a little bit worrisome if you take into account Rocky setup as well. So Alpha, the ball is in your court, and they're definitely very pressured at the moment.
You also see now, too, World 6, he was thinking, all right, well, maybe we can try and start up for this Baron. You're putting all your eggs into the Weilun basket. Unfortunately, though, he kind of just gets outranged by the fact that you're going up against an Azir, as well as just the constant threat of a Kennen that could always jump on top of you. And what early game you had for Alpha that went in your favor, unfortunately, they weren't able to transition it elsewhere on the map.
Definitely, they weren't able to keep snowballing. We didn't really see many dives from World 6, as when Nova was a little bit more weak. Now, Nova has a lot more firepower to contest future objectives, especially when they have to fight for Soul Point or the 3rd dragon for each of the game for the teams. And now Nova's working towards Baron, I guess, trying to make more space in that part of the map.
Well, I am, though, going to note here for Alpha, it's not the end of the world just yet, because we have seen instances where Nova have an advantage and have been unable to close out games. They themselves, though, they make the decision that, hey, we're going to go ahead, start up the Baron up to World 6 to make that hero play. Needs to get that Stormbringer in onto the pit. In comes the Nautilus ultimate. In it goes, as well as the Emperor's Divide. World 6 is denied entrance. G4 maybe a little bit too close to the party. He himself will likely get taken down on this Azir. And let's see, can Alpha find anything else? Can they take out any more members? The answer will likely be no at this point, as they're spread apart. Baron does go in favor of Nova, but Alpha with a man advantage for the next 40 seconds.
I think it's still a very good exchange, having to sacrifice G4's life, but at the same time, it means that it's just going to be a little bit of time they have to wait before they're able to take advantage. Wow, that hook!
Oh, that is disaster, Ryan! No point being that far forward when you don't have other members of your team, but the re-engage comes out here from Golden Feet as well as Pop as he secures the kill on the Nautilus. And they're able to turn a dire situation there in mid into a plus for them. Rocky on a flank, maybe looking for a play, but you do see Nova now equaling out the player total 4-4.
And it's unfortunate too, because World 6 has fallen, G4 is about to rise. Therefore, it's going to be a temporary 4v5 in the next 20 seconds or so. Alpha is just trying to adjust here as they try to just split push for the time being, but Baron empowered minions with 10 seconds more or less without World 6, they really have to give away this tower in the mid lane.
You saw Pop there, Dredge line came out, not going to be able to land onto your son. And with that too, that gives the reset for Nova the ability to try and get Prio here into the mid lane, as well as putting down the Azir tower. For a little bit of safety, Descends comes out, ends up only knocking in onto the cannon minion to bring it within range of the tower. We'll see whether or not Nova are actually able to crack this. It is a choke point. It's rather dangerous. We have seen teams fail before. Bush is looking for a flank on the Renekton, but it's not going to be the case. It gets taken down immediately.
Inhibitor now is the next target for Nova, as a lot still. That tower by the Azir in the mid lane is just keeping Alpha in their toes and not able to press that go button just yet.
You see Bush, he's still trying to find an angle, but doesn't matter. Nova are the ones that are going to go ahead back off. Pings coming out toward the Infernal Drake. For Nova, this would be their third one, also adding a little bit more damage overall. And for Alpha, do or die time, you have to do something, because the longer this game goes, the further behind you are going to be. And there you are, third dragon for Nova, soul point on the next spawn. And World 6 may be caught out toward the side. Oh, what? Hello?
Yes, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah.
He was farming the Grump, but Nova was known to be in the dragon taking the Infernal Drake, and World 6 was farming the Grump. Unfortunately, Nova's first instinct was to collapse on the bear.
And there you go. Chen 9, though, looking for a flank, is not spotted out on this ward. Now he's going to push on through, but Coldfeet immediately goes into stasis, is able to find himself back to safety. Emperor's Divide gets Chen 9 away from the back line. Re-engage coming out from Alpha, but it's them trying to disengage as Rocky takes down Bush. World 6 still down for 10 seconds. Nova looking for the base. Wei Lun has to make that carry play, has to make it happen, but no, he will be smited down into his GA and be taken down immediately. Gets himself back to safety. Alpha, one last stand. Can they make it happen? Wei Lun still on that front. G4 going down low. Nexus exposed. They're able to take down G4, but the push is still coming through from the side of Nova, unrelenting underneath the fountain. And there you go, Nova able to strike back, getting revenge up against Alpha Esports.
Yeah, tying that round-robin record against Alpha. Look at their faces at the moment. I feel like that's a satisfying win, because they were crushed in the first game, and now they did the same against Alpha.
There you go. Nova, overall, that gives them a lot of relief when it comes to the standings, as now it is very much on Liab to in the next match, which will determine whether or not they can even catch Nova.
That is, yeah, the scary part, because if Nova lost that point, then Liab had a little bit more leeway, but this makes things a little bit more interesting. Of course, Nova fans are definitely happy from that victory, as they looked really good, because we were questioning, what's going to happen if Nova does scaling? Will they just rely on heavy aggression snowball as their win condition? But, they proved us wrong, and they really, really made it work.
Yeah, so there you go. If you're a Nova fan, not a bad start to your final day of Super Week. Of course, they don't have any more games to play, and I know for the organization as a whole, they were relieved probably to at least get a victory, because there was still a very solid chance that this team was going to end up going 0-4 overall. So a 1-3, maybe you wanted a better Super Week, but nonetheless, at least you're able to give yourself safety come for playoffs.
Yeah, it all started with this Infernal Drake take where World 6 unfortunately not able to secure the Dragon. He was kited heavily by Ryan. And again, even though if Pop was eliminated the first from the Nova squad, there's still that Empress Divide serving as peel, and Nova is able to just create chaos in the backline.
And that was kind of just how everything panned out for Alpha. We expected them to get a lot more aggressive. We wanted to see more come out of them. It just never transpired, and your MVP going to be Rocky. Bringing out the guns here on the Kennen, 6-1-3.
Yeah, Purple Power, Kennen, Nova, and yeah, 6-1-3, being able to create impactful plays as the Kennen. And, you know, for Nova in general, patience was a virtue. Rocky was very patient in his own lane, waited for him, waited to strike, and it all panned out well for the team.
And with that, like I mentioned, Nova now advanced to a 6-10 scoreline, which moves them actually into 7th place ahead of Berjaya Dragons. Still in that bottom 2 positions when it comes to the playoff bracket. Of course, that means you're going to be starting off in the lower bracket, maybe not where you want to, but still nonetheless. They are going to be happy that they're able to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, considering the fact that your next 2 games coming up for this roster is, well, one of them is going to be Resurgence, the other one is going to be Berjaya, which they didn't pan out all that well. And it now comes down to this next game in particular for Liab going up against Hong Kong Attitudes, which can easily decide whether or not this team makes playoffs.
Yeah, it's definitely a crucial game for them, especially HK as well hasn't been performing recently, but I'm excited to see that.
And we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, Game 3 of the last day of Super Week.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.